Today's my third day back from California, but I'm here to kind of chat about July and August. Hello, how are you? Saying hey. It's been a while. It's been many weeks. I've been all over the place this summer, and it's September now, and I really need a nice reset. Taking it slow. Let's catch up. I hope that you're doing well. How are you spending Labor Day? If you have Labor Day off, that is. So originally I wanted to do like a favorites video because I've been having a lot of discoveries and things that I just want to share that I really like, but I'm going to save that for another time because I need to collect all of the thoughts. I feel like I've just been in and out and I forgot a lot of the songs that I like and movies that I really enjoyed. So once I get those all in order, I want to concisely put them in a little video. And in the meantime, I have to get to editing my Europe vlogs. I feel kind of like a slight anxiety to editing them because I remember when I was there, I wasn't filming a lot of commentary and I was very in the moment and I was taking a lot of B-roll of like basically just no talking, scenery, activities, and I imagined, okay, it's fine because I'm taking a more chill for vlogging. Then when I edit, I just may be a little more involved. I have to do more voiceovers, probably more captions, more cuts, and maybe because of that, I am already nervous to start because I haven't even taken a look at the footage. I don't even know what the footage looks like, but I'm like assuming that it's going to be hefty. So I'm a little scared because my expectations are so high. So I am talking all about managing expectations because that's what's been on the forefront of my journaling lately, all that stuff. And someone commented on my latest video, and I've been thinking about this quite a lot actually, how they said it's for them especially, but I resonate with it. It's really important to just have a goal, to have something you're striving for, and not even so much like what the goal is. I agree because having expectations is important, but then for so long when I was unaware, I had these high expectations that made me suffer a lot more than the value that I actually brought to my life. Whether it's constant disappointment for myself or events around me, or feeling the fear of falling short, or feeling like although you got to one accomplishment, that's immediately run over by the feeling that there's so much more that you didn't do. Those feelings kind of ruled my everyday, literally the moment I woke up to the time I went to sleep. So I would classify that as like high functioning anxiety. And there would be other times where I just absolutely burn out and I would feel depressed and I would feel so scared too because the more I'm paralyzed and I can't do anything, then the worse things will be. Like the more behind I'm falling, essentially, like I'm taking steps backwards if I'm just like staying still. Just for months and months and months now, I am thinking a lot about how my internal world will affect how I perceive my reality, how I treat people around me, and how I can really cherish the things I have. And I thought this to myself when I was lying under the sunshine, because I've been meditating. I thought to myself, to have is not enough. You have to cherish it. To simply have, but not to love, and not to not cherish is almost like as good as not having it. So where do I begin? July is a little bit blurred to me now, but I will say I spent half of July abroad, and it was just the best trip. I will show you in the few of the videos that I'm gonna make, and I guess I'm just gonna say this for myself, but also for everybody, that like I'm managing my expectations because I feel like what I want to get out of this Europe vlog is to share with others joy, and then also to like remember how much joy editing, his tail, mister, is to remember the joy and to spread that joy and to cherish these memories I've collected. And I don't want to sap all of that joy from feeling so pressured in the editing process of like oh, I didn't do it justice or something like that, because I'm just like, no, like the fact that I even wanted to record it and the fact that I'm sitting down and spending time to make it into a thing and then sharing it with others, like if a handful of people, like my family or my family friends, like it, then I've done what I've set out to do. And after I came back from July, it was really nice because I think I finally started living by the principles of what it means to slow down. Like I've been saying it for ages, and it's kind of like, oh, like now I'm like realizing, okay, so it means like when you want to have slower living, you do have to relinquish expectations of productivity. So it's like one thing to say that you want a slow life for what it kind of stands for, but then it's another thing to actually live by it, because it does challenge a lot of other pre-existing systems in your life. So I'm proud of myself for that, because overall I think it was so worth it for me, because I've seen, or maybe it's more accurate to say I have felt my heart blossom, and I'm just so incredibly grateful. Like maybe this is the honeymoon period right now for me, where I'm like so grateful for how these changes are starting to yield results that are like motivating me to continue. I don't have them all listed because I didn't actually like write notes for this night's video, so I'm kind of doing like a stream of consciousness. This is like podcast style because I'm just speaking to you. So I was gone for a combined month. Linda, my ex-neighbor and friend, came to my apartment, took care of the cats, and then the second time around, she also helped out a little bit. And then my friend William lived here, because, you know, I was like, you lived here for over a month when you were apartment hunting, so you kind of know your way around this place. Do you want to stay here for a week and keep the kitties company? Because I felt a little bit guilty for disappearing for another 2 weeks in August. I felt just very like safe and at peace when I wasn't home, because otherwise I would be like worrying about them. So I'm so grateful to these friends that I find really dependable. I've been taking a breather from ceramics just because my ass has been gone, but I've jotted down so many ideas for things that I want to do. And that's one thing I discovered during July when I was like, okay, I need to slow down, because after the June table sale, I started feeling very conscious of how, you know, if I sell something for quite a lot, like $80 for one piece of ceramic, it's a lot for the person to be buying this cup or bowl, but it's like not a lot in terms of how much time and energy it takes. So then I was like stressed out about how am I going to almost like commercialize and make myself into a factory. So I think like overall there needs to be a balance of fulfillment of my personal projects that I can work on slowly, because for a period like during July when I was trying to do ceramics, I found myself not having any like passion and excitement for, oh, I have this idea, I really want to see through, I just want to sit down and see where it goes. I just felt very empty or drained, because any other ideas I previously had, I felt kind of like, I don't want to do it because it's going to take forever, and like I don't even think I could sell it, because if I sell it then it would be so expensive, and it was just like, so one, I have to know my own worth, you know, find the right audience, and then find the balance of like how to sell more accessible priced things. So that's like a whole part of just being self-employed and my journey. And like there's a reason why when I am self-employed that like you need to diversify your income. So with that, you know, I have to tell myself what is supporting me this month. Like, can I afford to not earn money off of the ceramics I'm making, for example? So once I kind of have a better idea of that, and I've taken a few weeks off, I'm really excited to start these other projects, and like also find ways to incorporate maybe ceramics that I'm not going to sell or earn money off of, like incorporate it into other projects such as like my vlogs that I can do to like make a living if I'm doing a sponsorship for a video, and then I get to share with you like my process anyway. So it's all like still all feeling. My feelers are out. I'm like figuring out what's working, what I can change. I'm so grateful that I can do this, and it's just about like prioritizing. Like maybe it means you can't afford other things because you're spending your time and energy on this specific project that means a lot to you. So that's all of those kinds of thoughts I've had. So then for the latter half of August, I was out of town. I went to see my mom and I surprised her. I called my sister asking, like, do you know mom's schedule? Has she, because I was kind of like busy lately and I didn't want to spoil the surprise. I'm like, do you know if mom possibly has time? Because I know she works remotely. Like, does she have time to potentially do like a trip away? And then she said like, oh, I just talked to mom recently, and yes, she has been kind of pining for just the breath because she works 2 jobs and she's really, really burnt out. So I was like, perfect. Do you think I should take her to like Alaska? Because she's been wanting to see nature. She's never been. So then the 2 of us split a cruise and I took my mom on that, and I bought internet thinking that she can work remotely and that we can both get some work done. But the geographic location of the route we took was so bad, so there was essentially no internet. I don't know if I should have paid for that, but there were maybe 3 instances where she could load a few episodes of Desperate Housewives, and I'm glad that she enjoyed herself because I heard her laughing with her earphones in. That was also meaningful to me because that was the first vacation I have taken since 2016 probably, where I didn't vlog, or I didn't think about vlogging. I didn't think about what I'm going to tell an audience, and I think that was a really big step for me to kind of draw boundaries between work and life. Because on the one hand, I feel very blessed to have pursued like what I love doing for work, and I feel that every day, like the flexibility, the excitement of pursuing personal projects. And then for a long time, I think feeling so pressured by like always feeling like I have to answer to an audience, it strips the being present from you. So I have been asked that in the past, like, how do you stay present if you're always vlogging? And I think the question is, it is hard. So now I'm doing like, I think a healthier way of knowing when I want to vlog something, but also planning for time away as well, like finding time for myself. Like last year when I joined martial arts and started skating, I think like my old instinct was like, you have to document like every freaking second. That also just like makes me not want to start because it's kind of like tiring. But now I'm just like, I feel like I took the power back in some way because I can choose when I can just zone out and just do the activity for the enjoyment for myself. I just stabbed myself in the face when I was gesturing with my hand. But the Alaska trip was exciting, and I took photos. My mom and I took photos, but it was easier for me to be like, this is a one-on-one time with my mom, and it ended up feeling more like a retreat again rather than a vacation because my mom's been having a hard time. This year's just been really like up and down for us. It reminded me of the vibes of when we went to Mendocino in the spring. Was it spring or late winter? Why do I have to do this to myself? Why do I ask these questions? But when my mom and I spent like 4 days in Mendocino, it was a retreat just to kind of get away and feel recharged. And I think that was very much what she needed. And I look back to this time that we had together on the cruise, and it's like we had so many heart-to-hearts and also a lot of comfortable silence. And it was just so serene to be there. And the biggest blessing is I learned that in Alaska, it rains every day in the summer, essentially. But when we went there for a week, it didn't rain at all. I brought an umbrella. We each brought all of this like waterproof gear, and it was so hot. I was sweating. I had to take clothes off. I regretted like overdressing. That was a good problem to have because it was so sunny, and the rain basically was right before and right after, so it just felt so divine. So yeah, that happened. And I slept a lot on that trip. I don't really know what else to say. It just felt very, very chill. We woke up in the beginning I was jet lagged, so I would wake up 2 hours before my mom. I would have coffee, and then I would come back and she would be doing skincare, and then we would walk around, kind of wander. She brought her stamping and I brought paints, so then we had kind of like, what do you even call it? I think it's called shadow play, is when kids do their own activities side by side, but then that companionship is still like a bonding experience. And then when we got back, I spent just a day before I flew out, and my flight was canceled and it was a whole thing. But the last note that I have is, I think gratefulness is, I'm just stating all of these obvious things, but it's so different when you can finally speak from experience, I think, because on paper I know like, oh, gratefulness is good for your health, but now that I just feel like I'm more and more embodying gratitude and that perspective, I didn't feel anger or as much stress. Like in my head, I wasn't feeling like anger or stress. Of course, it sucked to have a flight delay for 18 hours and like sit there. I was supposed to get a complimentary seat bump to business because I've been using the airline credit card for 3.5 years, and I accumulated enough loyalty points because you have to purchase their flights. So I just crossed that threshold and I was supposed to get that, but then I didn't. I got a middle seat in economy. So I was like, oh man, like once I've tasted the luxury, because I got complimentary the way home. On the way back, I was like, I'm in a middle seat. But the two ladies I was seated in between, I thought they were friends because when I boarded, I kind of boarded near the end because I didn't feel like cutting people in line. I used to be one of those people, just very impatient, but it's like, you save 17 seconds. So I got there last and I sat down between them. They were kind of like talking over me, showing photos, and they're like, oh, I'm sorry, like we'll pipe down in a minute. I'm like, no worries. And I just felt like surprised when I realized they were just talkative people, I guess two extroverts. By the way I was conditioned, I'm not someone that would feel very trusting and like easily open up, and I'm an introvert, you know. By default, I'm not going to jump into their conversation and like be like, yeah, this is something I totally want to partake in. But throughout the flight, because they made me feel so safe by the way they were talking across me and like saying certain things, I struck up a conversation with a woman on my right. Okay, I think it first started because she looked at my nails and then she was saying, I love your nails. And I was telling her that it was gifted to me for a project because I got my first modeling experience. Totally forgot to mention that. That happened in August. So they needed me to have really pretty hands for close-ups. So then she asked me what I did, and I was saying I'm like a content creator, but then I'm also trying to be like a small shopkeeper and work on my art. And then I showed her pictures of that, and then she has a daughter in college who has an online shop, and she was wearing a necklace that she made, and she had a tote bag that she sewed. So her daughter is so skilled, and I felt very like warm seeing, you know, a mother wearing the things that her daughter made. And then I shared with her my page, and then the gal on my left, she was on her computer with internet, and then she was kind of like also in on the conversation, and then she pulled up my website and showed her, and they were just looking through all of the photos and just like, you know, showering me with kind words. And we started talking a little bit about like more personal stuff, because I told her, she asked me if I'm going on a trip, and I said no, I live in New York now. I was visiting my mom, and then one thing led to another, and I just mentioned about how my dad passed away this year, how I'm like really valuing quality time with family. And my dad passed at her age. Is that a strange sentence? I was like trying to say, my dad is the same age as this woman who I was talking to. So she was just like kind of saying like sharing her life. So it was just very healing and made me so grateful to share and be intimate with people, like just have genuine human connection and in places that I didn't expect. And I want to read that book that she was reading just because it seemed like a cool book, and I'll get back to you on if it's good or not. And lastly, when I got home that night, I was like talking to Bambi. Bambi was so chatty. He was like, meow, 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 meow. Where were you? And then I heard a notification like ding, that means somebody ordered something from my shop. And I was like, oh, that's nice. It's always nice to hear. And then the next morning when I checked, it was one of them that had the computer. She bought a print. She bought one of my sister's artworks from the site, and when I mail it to her, I'm going to like write a little note to her. So I just wanted to share that really like beautiful moment that came from kind of like a disappointing 18-hour flight delay. What else was I gonna say? Before I left the plane, I turned to her in the window seat and I told her, I just want to let you know, like, I wish you and your family the best. It meant a lot to me to like talk with you, and it made like the delay and the canceled flight not so bad. And she was just like, oh, because recently I've been talking to my dear friend, Luke's dad. He's very much like a friend and a mentor and like a father figure as well. And he was telling me how important it is to tell people not only like thank you, but also specific reasons for why they make you feel good. So I was able to like put that to practice by telling this person on the plane, like, talking to you like made this cancel flight like seem like it was for the better in a way. So I think that goes a lot further than like, oh, thanks, I had a great time, you know, something that just sounds more canned. So yeah, I hope that you are having a good September so far. I'm really excited for autumn because it's my favorite season and it's my birthday. I don't know why I sound so sad. I think I'm just feeling very emotional in a good way. So that's that. I'm gonna end it here. I hope that you're excited to tune into the Europe vlogs. A lot of fun moments coming your way, and I love you so much. Thank you so much for tuning in. I know that I'm very spotty these days, but you know, you constantly tell me, take your time, and I want to, and I finally am, and I'm not guilty about it. So I'm just incredibly grateful for you. If you would like to share with me how you're doing, or one instance that like a precious moment you've shared with somebody, maybe even a stranger, that you might never see again, please comment down and share in the comments, and I will see you soon. We love you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. This little monkey has been climbing all over me this entire video.